What is up, guys? Welcome back to Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another Walking Dead video for today. This one, we're going to be doing another worst to best video for The Walking Dead. This one, we're going to be doing the worst to best episodes of The Walking Dead Season 3.
You silence the whispers.
Okay, guys, so this is going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today. This one's going to be doing another worst to best video for The Walking Dead. This one is the worst to best episodes of The Walking Dead Season 3. So, we did the list, of course, for Season 1. We did this for Season 2 last week. Now, this week, we're going to be doing the worst to best episodes of The Walking Dead Season 3. Now, Season 3 of The Walking Dead is a really, really great season. It is a really great season with a lot of great storylines. I think Season 3 is one of the seasons that has maybe one of the best casts, The Walking Dead has ever had. You got your Rick, you got Daryl, you got Glenn, you got Maggie, Merle, the governor, you got Michonne is coming in around this time here too. You've really got a great cast of Walking Dead characters this season. So, it really makes it to where it's one of the best seasons of Walking Dead, I would have to say. So, that being said, that being established, let's rank all the episodes from worst to best. Let's go through them. Let's talk about them and why, it's my least favorite and why it's my favorite, number 16 and number 1. So, okay. So, number 16, we got 16 episodes to go through, so this is definitely going to be probably a crazy long list. But, I'll try to kind of, cut it as short as I can so this video isn't like 30 minutes. But, so number 16 is going to be The Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 11, I Ain't a Judas. Now, this is the episode with Andrea and her going to the prison and basically her not staying, just going back, just visiting basically and going back. It's really the only main plot that happens in the episode. There really is no kind of outcome in this, aside from her seeing how Rick and the others are doing. But I just don't like it. I don't find this episode to be very interesting. I find it to be very slow, kind of dull at times, and even though I am happy that they had Andrea at least go back to the prison and see the characters again, as soon as she got into the car and, went back to Woodbury at the end, I was like, okay, I don't like this episode. This episode really has no point to it. It's really not, it doesn't do anything for the overall story is all I'm saying. The only thing it does is that Woodbury takes Tyrese's group in while Milton and Andrea are out there killing the zombies and stuff like that. But it's like Tyrese's group just joins the prison later on anyway, so it doesn't really make much of a difference to me. But yeah, so number 15 is going to be The Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 7, which is called When the Dead Come Knocking. Now, this episode is very slow. It's a very slow build up to the mid-season finale, I have to admit. And it's not one of my favorite episodes of the series, honestly. This is one of those episodes that there are portions of it I really like with, them on their way to Woodbury. You've got Glenn and Maggie, and they're being, kind of tortured by the governor and Merle. So I like some of that stuff. It's really intense. But then you have this other, like side story with Milton and Andrea and Mr. Coleman that I just could care less, honestly. It went on way too long. It was really boring. It was really dull. And for a build-up to a mid-season finale, it was okay, is all I'm going to say. It was an okay build-up to a mid-season finale. It was good. It set things up, but it should have been a lot faster paced than what we actually got. But that's just my personal opinion. I view the best stuff of the episode to be Glenn and Maggie and Merle and the governor related, honestly. The rest, it's kind of your basic, slow build up to the mid-season finale, but it's still good, don't get me wrong. Number 14 is going to be actually Episode 14, Season 3, Episode 14, Prey. Now, this episode is really good. This episode has a lot to offer, that's for sure, with Andrea, and I really like the chase, kind of vibe with the governor going after her, but I definitely have to say, the one thing that I don't like about this is that it's literally like a bottle episode, which you guys know I don't like, and I don't like how they focused entirely on Woodbury, when I would have preferred to see a couple scenes back at the prison in this episode, at the same time, see the Andrea stuff, but also see what's going on with Rick and them at the prison, and how they're feeling about giving over Michonne. And yeah, we focus on that in This Sorrowful Life, which is the episode after, but I don't know. And then Andrea, just because this leads up to her death, and Andrea is a character that shouldn't have been killed off to begin with. I don't know. It's not one of my favorites, but it is good. It's just I wish they would have I just wish they would have shown more with like the prison group, or how Rick and the others are doing and stuff. Instead, they just focus entirely on Andrea, and by the end, she's just captured anyway and killed off in a really kind of blah way in the actual finale. So I don't know. Not my favorite episode episode is all I'm going to say. But it's still good, though. Don't get me wrong. So, yeah, number 14, episode 14, Prey. Coming in at number 13 is also going to be season 3, episode 13, which is called Arrow at the Doorpost. Now, I really like this episode, and I actually think it is a bit underrated. I think a lot of people just look at this episode and they're like, oh, because, Rick and the governor, they meet and nothing really happens, that, it doesn't push the story forward. And you're right, it doesn't push the story forward very well, but I actually really like this episode regardless if it's a waste of time. I love the feel of Rick and the governor meeting face to face. We've never seen this type of thing before, and just trying to see if there's any kind of way they can work things out. I think they both know it's a waste of time. I think the governor knows it's a waste of time. I think Rick knows it's a waste of time. But that's what I love about it. They both know they're wasting their time, but they're gonna try it anyway, because the governor, he likes Andrea, obviously, and Rick also wants to listen to Andrea because Andrea was one of his own, So honestly, it's one of those type of things where, they want to listen to Andrea because Andrea wants peace, and they try it, and it doesn't work. But I like it. I think it's really cool. You've got Daryl, you got Martinez, and them. They're kind of talking a little bit. Yeah, it's just a really, really good episode for sure. And Merle acts out in this episode because he's worried about his brother, and yeah, it's a really, really good episode in my personal opinion. Number 12 is going to be season 3, episode 9, The Suicide King. Now, this is the mid-season premiere. This is a really good episode. This episode has basically Merle and Daryl. They go off, of course, after the pit fight in front of everybody. They decide to leave Rick and the others, and this is when Daryl decides to go off. And we have a lot of tension building in Woodbury in this episode. It's really exciting. Andrea gives that big speech, and yeah, it's really good. And Rick goes crazy and kicks out Tyrese's group. So I like this episode. I think it's really good, and yeah, definitely number 12, The Suicide King. Number 11 is going to be season 3, episode 6. Now, this episode is really, really good. This episode is the one where Merle is chasing after Michonne. Now, I really like this episode, but I'm going to have to admit, the reason why I put this at number 11, and the reason why I don't put it higher on the list like a lot of people would, because it is a really exciting episode with Merle versus Michonne and all that kind of stuff, is because there are also things in this episode I don't really like too much. Andrea hooking up with the governor, I don't like that stuff. I don't find that stuff to be very interesting, and that took up a good portion of the episode as well. And then there were, some moments here and there that were a bit slow in the episode, but I still really liked it, because this is also the episode, and let's not forget, this is the episode where Maggie and Glenn are captured by Merle and brought back to Woodbury, and they see Merle for the first time. So I like that stuff. And we also have Rick going crazy with the phone thing, just like in the just like in the comic, and they really, they really show how Rick is really starting to lose his mind in this episode. So I liked it. I thought it was really, really good. And the ending of the episode as well is Michonne arriving at the prison. So it's a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. Definitely number 11 is season 3, episode 6. Coming in at number 10 is going to be season 3, episode 5, Say the Word. Now, this episode is really much of a aftermath episode after, of course, Killer Within. We get to see a lot with Rick, of course, going kind of crazy and stuff, as well as Michonne basically stealing her sword, really getting her sword back. It's hers to begin with, after the governor stole it and hung it up in the cabinet, which I thought was kind of funny. But basically, and Andrea's gun there too. Like, the governor just does not let Michonne have her sword back. He just can't allow that, But yeah, and I love the scene when she goes out there and she kills all the walkers and stuff, and she's slicing the walkers and stuff, and it's the ones that are basically used for, which we find out later in the episode, for the fight with Merle and Martinez, and the zombie type fights or whatever, zombie cage fights type of thing. Yeah, it's a really, really good episode for sure. I like it. And we got a lot of time with Daryl, of course, and Maggie, of course, going to get formula. And yeah, it's just a really, really good episode all the way around. Say the Word, season 3, episode 5, definitely. Number 9 is going to be season 3, episode 3, which is called Walk With Me. Now, this episode is amazing. I love this episode. I find this one very underrated, because this episode is focused on the governor, and this is kind of our introduction to the Woodbury group. Amazing community. Honestly, so many people make fun of Woodbury. It's like, oh, it's just one street. I love it. I do. I think it looks absolutely amazing, the fact that they did this for the show. I love it. I think the governor and how they trick you in this episode to make you think that he's good, and by the end you find out that he's absolutely insane, and he is, the new villain, or really the first ever villain of the series. because at that time, the only big villain we ever had was really like Shane, if you even want to consider him a villain. So when the governor came on screen in this episode, it was amazing. And we saw the introduction to Merle in this episode. So absolutely amazing episode for sure. I think this episode has so much to it. Number 8 is going to be Season 3, Episode 1, Seed. So this is the premiere. Now, I know number 8 spot for the premiere may not make sense to a lot of people. I don't find this to be one of their best premieres. I think this is a really good premiere, but I have to say it's not as good as a lot of the other episodes in this season that we'll obviously get to, but this is a really good episode nevertheless. It's really good, a lot of action, they take over the prison, and Herschel's leg, of course, at the end, which is an insane scene, yeah, I absolutely love this episode all the way through. Number 7 is going to be Season 3, Episode 16, which is called Welcome to the Tombs. Now, I'm still going to put it at number 7, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, wow, the season finale at number 7, it's because it was such a disappointing episode, but I'm still going to put it at number 7, mainly because I still look at this episode as, if you look at this episode as a regular episode, it's really good. It is. However, Andrea's death, I think, was done well, but it wasn't the right time. You know, like, the way they did Andrea's death in this episode was good, but, you know, they shouldn't have done it, but it was done good. Like, you know, so I'm kind of in that, like, you know, halfway point with that. But, the governor running off, gunning down all his people, I mean, it was great, you know, seeing him go crazy. It really was. But I have to acknowledge that for a season finale, we should have seen a lot more than we got. I mean, honestly, this episode, it should have been Too Far Gone level, and we didn't get that until, you know, midway through season 4. And don't get me wrong, like, Too Far Gone is great, and I was happy with the way that went, but we should have seen more of this episode for a finale, you know? I don't know. There are so many ways, you know, you could do this episode, and it would have turned out a lot better. So, I don't know, but that's just my personal opinion. Number 7, the season finale, Welcome to the Tombs. Coming in at number 6 is going to be Season 3, Episode 2. So, this episode is called 6. So, this is the episode focused on the prisoners, of course, and also Herschel and whether or not he's going to survive. And I love this. You know, you got Thomas, Axel, all these other guys, and yeah, it's a great episode, honestly. You've got, you know, Herschel and kind of the wonder of whether or not he's going to survive. You've got the prisoners being a huge threat in this episode. And yeah, I don't know, really that's all that happens, but it's really good. You know, it's a really great episode. A lot of zombies in the tombs, a lot of action, a lot of kind of just tension, and just, oh my god, I love this episode. So yeah, Season 3, Episode 2, Sick is a really, really great episode. Number 5 is going to be Season 3, Episode 8, Made to Suffer. Now, this episode is so underrated. I mean, it is so underrated. You've got the governor, and he has his eye, you know, his fight with Michonne, and then he loses his eye, and then you've got, you know, the battle in Woodbury. They're throwing the, you know, the grenades and stuff, and I love it. It's amazing. And you have the death of Oscar in this episode as well, which was, you know, out of nowhere. You have Shane, who comes back as an hallucination real quick as well. And the crazy ending with, you know, Merle and Daryl meeting again, and they have to fight each other. And I love the line from the governor when he's like, "You wanted your brother. Now you got him," you know? I love that. That was amazing. So, yeah, definitely number 5, Made to Suffer. Great mid-season finale, in my opinion. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Season 3, Episode 10, Home. So, this episode is really exciting. We have the surprise governor attack out of nowhere, the death of Axel that just, yeah, I mean, honestly, blows us away, as it blew him away, and honestly, I love this episode. It's really good. You've got the governor kind of getting his revenge for Woodbury, which obviously we just talked about, Made to Suffer, and we also have a lot of build-up, a lot of kind of tension at the prison, a lot of them kind of getting prepared for an attack, and then by the end, they actually get attacked. And you have Rick out there. We see Lori again, which I'm not a fan of, but it's still, I like the way they did it. I thought it was really good. And we have basically Herschel that goes down there and talks to Rick, and I love Rick and Herschel talk scenes. I mean, honestly, father-son moments between the two of them, I find, always. It's really great. I know, you know, Glenn and Herschel is really more of a father-son thing, but also Rick and Herschel I find to be just, I don't know, it's amazing. So yeah, number 4, definitely Season 3, Episode 10, Home. Oh, and as well, I forgot to mention as well, we have Daryl and Merle in this episode as well, you know, helping the people on the bridge. So yeah, really great episode, and absolutely love just everything about this one. Number 3 is going to be Season 3, Episode 12, Clear. Now, this episode is really great. This is the return of Morgan, at least for one episode. We kind of see how he's doing. We see the old town from Season 1 again, and it's just, it's really good. We got the traps and stuff that Morgan said. deaths, and some great stuff. The story about Dwayne and how he went out, and yeah, it's an amazing episode all the way through. And I even love the little subtle too. You know who I am. You see who I am. People wearing dead people's faces, which I know people still freak out about nowadays. I don't think it's really anything big, but I like so many people are like, oh, did Morgan ever run into the Whispers? And I'm just like, no, I don't think that's what he meant. Honestly, I know a lot of people come out with that theory, and I just pass it by, to be honest. But anyway, that's just me. So, number 2 is going to be Season 3, Episode 15, This Sorrowful Life. Now, this episode is amazing. This is the episode with Merle, of course, his death episode, and just Daryl's reaction to his zombie brother at the end was it was amazing. You have Rick and whether or not he's going to give over Michonne, and it's kind of too late. And I love Rick's speech in this episode, how you live, how you die, it isn't up to me. And he's like, I'm not your governor. I freaking love that. That is amazing. So that is definitely the second best episode of this season. And the proposal, too, where Glenn basically cuts off the ring of the walker hand and, gives it to Maggie, I guess. So little does Maggie know Glenn got that off of a walker. But anyway, but yeah, that was also a great scene in this episode as well. So, number 1, the best episode of Season 3, as I'm sure this is probably a popular opinion. I'm going to go with the popular opinion in this one because I cannot agree more. The best episode of Season 3 is going to go to Season 3, Episode 4, Killer Within. Absolutely amazing episode. It's got the emotional stuff with Lori's death. Same thing with T-Dog. Even though he was a background character, I think his death was still good. He died a hero, so I like that, saving Carol. And you have Rick's reaction at the end to Lori, which was insane. Them struggling with the keys to try to get up there, shut off the alarm and stuff. You got the one prisoner dude that attacks Rick in this one, and Oscar really proves himself by killing the prisoner dude and flipping the gun back to Rick. I love that. So it's really good. You got the action, you got the tension, you got the drama, you got the amazing lines in this one. You got an amazing performance by Andrew Lincoln and 2 character deaths, which honestly I just think worked out so good. Lori's death was really good for the story. I think Lori's death was perfect right here. And T-Dog, his character death, even though he was a background character, I still like his death. I think it was still really good, and he died as a hero saving Carol. And I mean, honestly, look at how, crazy, tough Carol is now, just because she got saved by T-Dog then, So, I don't know. Really cool stuff. I definitely want to say this is an amazing season of The Walking Dead, but definitely Season 3, Episode 4, Killer Within has got to be my favorite. So, what is your list in the comment section below? I'm sure you guys probably don't want to write down your whole list, but at least maybe your top 5. What are your top 5 favorite episodes of Season 3 of The Walking Dead? Write that down in the comment section below, guys. And of course, if you're new here, click the subscribe button so you'll be sending my Walking Dead videos. Follow Dan's Walking Dead reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for another Walking Dead video. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.